Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Diamond Chat, courtesy of Dr. Karen Kramer in Grafton. Tim Alcorn with AM 930 WEOL, Shaun Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram. And yes, we are thrilled to have back right in front of us, but for all of you, thankfully, behind the camera. Yes, Bruce Bishop is back from his road trip. Man, he put some miles on the vehicle.
Yeah, out there in the West, tracking around looking for bad weather. And I said that's a gamble for a vacation, you know. You're just kind of putting it all out there on whether you can find some tornadoes or not. So how'd you do?
It was quite a gamble. It was a real nice drive, I have to tell you that. It was beautiful.
Oklahoma, Texas?
Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. I think I might have touched Kansas at one point. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, it's great to have you back, Bruce.
It's great to be back. I have a little pressure because before we get started, let's talk about some numbers. People have been watching this while I've been gone, huh?
Wow. Shaun Bennett tracks this thing by the hour, so he keeps us up to date. But in all seriousness, who we've mentioned before, thanks to all of you that are watching. We're well above 1,000 views per week on this, so it's staggering. It's great.
Yeah. I think, I get a lot of feedback, and I think you are too. People are coming up, and they like the format. We've tried some different things, and it seems like people like seeing the different different segments and things like that. So that's cool.
No doubt. So obviously we appreciate you watching. And Bruce, in all seriousness, that means you're doing a great job. And Kristen, in your absence for 2 weeks, did a great job as well. So again, good stuff. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, the sheriff is back in town. We're not going long on these. We're getting back to our timer again. So
all right.
So we're going to start off with tournaments. Last weekend we had Priebus, and this coming weekend we have Elyria Softball Classic. So who are we going to start with?
Well, we'll start with the Priebus, and we're both going to talk softball in this segment because the Priebus is one of the premier tournaments in the state of Ohio. And, Shaun, I'll kind of let you start as far as some of the great games and some of the great teams that were over there.
Well, it is such a tough tournament, and that's obvious by the area teams. The only team to go undefeated was Keystone, the host school. They went 3-0. Elyria went 2-1, notably because they had two state-ranked teams they had to face. They won 5-2 over Oak Harbor, who is ranked number 2 in Division II, and they lost 8-3 against Toledo Notre Dame, who's ranked number 9 in Division I. Amherst went 1-2, and Midview went 0-3 at that LaGrange site. Over in Wellington, Avon went 2-1 with a huge 8-7 win over Bellevue, who's ranked number 9 in Division II. Wellington went 1-2, Elyria Catholic 1-2, Columbia went 1-2, and Vermilion only played the one day. They went 0-1 in the first Friday night game.
I'll tell you what, as Shaun just said, it is one of the premier tournaments as far as the state of Ohio is concerned. My story from the Priebus, now a little bit later on in the Diamond Chat, we'll have our Bright Smile performance. Maybe this could be called the Big Frown, because Columbus DeSales just walked out of the tournament. I've never been involved with anything like that in all my years of broadcasting on WEOL. We were all set to carry Columbus DeSales and Keystone in our very first game. I arrive on the scene, and Keystone head coach Jim Piazza and the head coach at Columbus DeSales, they're having a spirited conversation. And all of a sudden, Columbus DeSales, I hear their coach say, "We're out of here, we're leaving." I've never seen anything like that before. And literally, she took her girls and they got on the bus, and I guess they went down 301 to 71 and headed back home. But a great job by Jim Piazza and everybody over at Keystone. Boy, they reorganized things quickly. We were supposed to do a game on the radio, so Jim was able to get Elyria High and Mount Vernon to come over to our field and play in what turned out to be a heck of a ball game, a 10-9 game. So, yeah, the Big Frown goes to Columbus DeSales. But, again, great job to everybody over at Keystone for making what was a pretty lousy situation into something that was very easily handled.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. You started to go long, but that was interesting. So
yeah,
we'll give you a couple extra.
It was
seconds
one of the
on
most interesting things I've ever had in my broadcasting career.
And it's only 2 hours difference drive down there, but they must have great weather and fields down in Columbus, because if they thought that field was bad, I mean, it's crushed red brick. It doesn't hold water. That field was fantastic out there, and somebody to say we can't play on that, I was stunned. I was shocked.
I think there's more to the story, but my 1 minute is up. All right, Bruce, next.
Way to put it on me.
Next topic.
All right, next topic. We're going to talk about some fresh rankings out from the state. we've got some player rankings for softball and baseball, correct?
Yeah, well, team rankings as far as the AP polls are concerned. I guess I'll start things off on the baseball side. And we talked a little bit about this last week. We'll start in Division One. Boy, the Amherst Comets putting together an outstanding season under head coach Matt Rossitano. They have one of the premier players not only in Lorain County, but really in the state of Ohio in their outstanding pitcher, Evan Shaver. Well, they are ranked number 3. They've moved up to number 3 this week in Division 1. So hats off to the Amherst Comets. In Division 3 this week, Elyria Catholic. The Panthers are having a very nice season. Bruce Lisicki's team is number 8 in Division 3 as far as this week's state poll is concerned. And in Division 4, boy, Lake Ridge, they are unbeaten on the year. They're having an outstanding campaign. Lake Ridge this week comes in at number 4 in Division 4. So those 3 teams, as far as Lorain County are concerned, really making some noise as far as that AP poll is concerned. Now, again, polls don't mean a lot. You settle it on the field. But hats off to those teams for outstanding recognition.
Yeah, on the softball side, I have the same 3 teams we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. And a little bit of jostling in some of it, but Elyria, number 8 in Division 1. They've dropped down from number 6. Pioneers, I think, just looking for a little consistency.
Right.
They win a big game, they lose a big game, but that's kind of life when you're playing that kind of schedule. They went from Wendy's to Priebus in back-to-back weeks. Beat the number 2 team in the nation, then lose to a state-ranked team here, beat another state-ranked team, lose to a state-ranked team. So they're just kind of looking for some consistency as far as that goes. But hats off to them for just kind of winning some big games. Keystone, again, number 1 in Division 2. Wellington, number 7 in Division 3. Interesting thing is all 3 of those teams played in the Priebus this weekend. Keystone saw its number 2 ranked team in Division 2, Oak Harbor. Oak Harbor came in, lost to Elyria, as we mentioned. I think they lost another big game to – Oak Harbor played nothing but Division 1 talent. They played top-level Uniontown Lake. They played top-level Division 1 teams, so no surprise there. But, 3 teams still kind of rocking it for softball.
Okay, guys. Time for some bracket talk. We've got fresh numbers also for the sectional and district tournament draws, right?
Yeah,
so we'll start with baseball.
Well,
we'll start. Yeah, I can start with the softball since we went baseball first last time, and no surprise. I think in a lot of the seedings, we'll start with Division 1. Elyria seeded number 1 in their sectional district draw. Amherst number 2. Olmsted Falls number 3, and Midview number 4. Kind of a tough draw for Elyria because I kind of picked preseason that Midview, Amherst, and Elyria were kind of going to have some battles this year in that tournament draw. And because Olmsted Falls kind of caught Amherst and Midview at some opportune times in Southwestern Conference play, they pulled off wins over those 2 teams and grabbed that number 3 seed. So now Elyria has to probably face Midview in a semifinal, and then potentially Amherst in the final, because Amherst is probably the heavy favorite to win on that other half bracket. In Division 2, we have Keystone as the heavy number 1 seed over there, and Firelands is the number 4 seed. So that could be a fun matchup, semifinal matchup as well, an all-local one. Division 3, Independence the number 1 seed, but Wellington the number 2 seed, and Elyria Catholic the number 4 seed. So those 2 teams could battle and potentially meet in a final if we see an upset or this and that. Division 4, the brackets haven't come out yet, so we're still waiting on that.
And by the way, before we get to baseball, just real quick, look out for EC in Division 3, a defending district champion. They play a tough schedule. I know the Wellington Lady Dukes have put together an outstanding campaign, and not discounting them, but I think EC will be ready as well.
Well, the thing there, too, in that particular one, Wellington right now has kind of struggled this week with a couple losses, whereas EC is really hot. So it could be fun. I'd like to see those 2 match up for a district final, and it could happen.
That'd be cool, because then you'd have a Lorain County team guaranteed a trip to the Sweet 16. All right, over on the boys' side, on the baseball side, as far as the brackets are concerned, the good news is that all 4 divisions, 1 through 4, it's a Lorain County team that grabbed the number 1 seed. In Division 1, we mentioned Amherst state ranked at number 3 in the latest AP poll, so obviously they are the number 1 seed as far as Division 1 is concerned. Amherst will take on the winner of Midview and Lakewood. Elsewhere, Elyria got the number 3 seed. Eddie Piazza's club very quietly putting together a nice campaign. I know they had a doubleheader sweep over Midview this past weekend. So Amherst the number 1 seed, Elyria the number number 3 seed. Midview comes in at number 8. Avon Lake at number 5. They've had some nice wins this year. They could be a sleeper over there, and the Avon Eagles come in at number 6. In Division 2, Firelands, the number 1 seed. Boy, what a great year they're having under head coach Dan Ransom. Firelands just looking for a way to get to the regional, though. They've had some tough losses in the district level the past couple of years. And in Division 3, we mentioned the EC girls on the softball side. The EC boys are the number 1 seed baseball-wise in their sectional district. And in Division 4, Lake Ridge, number 1 seed.
Okay. All right, so we're at the name drop section of this today. We were talking earlier, I think we were going to split this up. I think one was taking defensive players maybe, and one was taking some good offense. Is that what we were doing?
I think is the way we were going to do it.
Yeah, on my side, on the baseball side, boy, there have been some outstanding pitching performances since we last sat down and taped our Diamond Chat. So pitching-wise, over at Avon Lake, I mentioned they're a sleeper team in that Division I sectional district. They've got a great pitcher, Jack Krakowski. He threw a 10-strikeout, 1-0 no-hit win against North Olmsted. Keystone, Kyler Yusko. He had a 5-inning no-hitter against the Brooklyn Hurricanes as far as Patriot Athletic Conference play is concerned. And at Vermilion, again, there's another sleeper team. We don't talk a lot about Vermilion, but they're 17-5 as we sit and tape Diamond Chat this week. Vermilion got a no-hit game, a 5-inning no-hit game from their outstanding pitcher, Ridge Clark. So, boy, the pitching has been outstanding. We've got one more to tell you about, but that's one that kind of brings a bright smile to people's faces. So
sneaky.
Maybe that's our bright smile performance.
All right. Okay. Tim came in under a minute, Sean. Let's see if you can do a miracle.
Well, Sean needs my extra 5 seconds.
I will take it, too. Offensively, we're going to go offense because there's some big offensive performances in softball. So I'm just going to go through and list. With 4 hits, Autumn McCord from Keystone versus Wellington, Alyssa Boraggiano from Wellington versus Lutheran West, Lexi Wright from Wellington, Marley McNulty from Keystone, Chloe Simcoe from North Ridgeville, Taryn Bolin from Avon, Marissa Bowser from Clearview, Casey McGraw from Amherst. With 3 hit games this week, Autumn McCord from Keystone, Chloe Simcoe from North Ridgeville, April Hauser from Elyria, Kerrigan Williams from Elyria, Casey Amato from Oberlin, Stephanie Griffith from EC, Mackenzie Cornwell from Amherst, Erica Eschenauer from Vermilion, Rihanna Rosekrantz from Wellington, Gianna Vasquez from North Ridgeville, Anna Lingle from North Ridgeville, Amanda Demerol from Avon Lake, Maddie Harrington from Keystone, Amanda Holtzman from Avon, Riley West from Columbia, Emily Berg from Columbia, Mindy Camp from Clearview, Liz Allen from Clearview, Caitlin Janis from Clearview, Kaylin Martin, Amanda Snowberg from Amherst, Rachel Meese from North Ridgeville, and Megan Knight from North Ridgeville. Boom! 1 minute.
Wow.
Get
right
some.
on the 1 minute mark. I'm impressed.
Meanwhile, I feel sorry for the 3 high school players in the county whose names weren't mentioned in that list.
I'm telling you, it's so impressive to watch the softball. You like 3 hits in a game. That's a good benchmark. And all of a sudden, I'm looking through the week's results, and it's like name. And I'm like 50 girls had 3 or 4 hits this week. It was jaw-dropping, to say the least.
That is very impressive. Super impressive, in
Super
fact.
impressive. That's
but,
right.
I was mentioning during the broadcast last week over at the Priebus, I think softball has really evolved on the offensive side. Boy, I remember years ago calling games on WEOL, and they were all 1-0, 2-1, 2-0 games. I don't know if it's the rubber being moved back a few feet a few years ago or just the advancement in the offensive play, but boy, you see a lot of these high-scoring games, high-hit games now, a lot more than you used to.
Yeah, like we talked about development leagues, Little League, at the Emerald Necklace, you got OGSO, and a lot of travel organizations where girls are sharpening their skills. A lot of hitting instructors. LaFew has got a lot of girls out there, Testito and Riley Zana and girls, that know how to hit, teaching the young kids how to hit, and it's what it is now. You're getting better and better at that. For years, that's what they did. They taught all the pitchers, LaFew and them. Now they're showing how to figure those pitchers out a little bit.
Those
yeah, that's right.
No, it is fun. It is fun softball to watch, though. You get some scoring. You get people moving on the base pass. That's a lot of fun.
All right, guys, who's got the bright smile of the week?
I've got the bright smile. Well, earlier I had the big frown, but it's appropriate that with Dr. Kramer as our sponsor, we have our weekly bright smile performance. And I mentioned earlier some of the great pitching performances, but I did leave one out because I wanted to have it for the bright smile performance. When you get a perfect game, it doesn't get any better than that when you're out on the hill. And congratulations goes out to Lake Ridge Jake Roach. Jake Roach pitched a 5-inning perfect game against St. Martin de Porres. He was just dominant, 15 up, 15 down. So congratulations to Jake Roach over at Lake Ridge. They are putting together an outstanding campaign. And, man, when you've got a kid like that on the mound, that can carry you a long way. So that's no doubt a bright smile performance.
Super impressive.
Super impressive.
Super impressive. Okay, let's talk about the walk-off player of the week, Mr. Bennett. I think you've got it.
This week we're doing walk-off with Keystone's Autumn Accord. We talked about Columbus DeSales walking off. So Autumn and the rest of the Wildcats had nothing to do that first time slot at Priebus. So I said, hey, let's take advantage. And we took her off to the side. We asked her some fun questions. She's perky, she's got energy, and she's one of the top players in the county, one of the top players in the state, I would guess. Big home run hitter, great catcher. So she was a lot of fun to talk to. So
yeah, I was standing right there when Shaun Bennett recorded this. So you're going to enjoy this. This is a lot of fun with Autumn Accord. So that's coming up next. In the meantime, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Diamond Chat. Again, a huge thank you to Dr. Karen Kramer, our sponsor. Bruce Bishop behind the camera, thanks to you. Shaun, as always, great to work with you. And again, for all of you that are watching out there, and the numbers are huge, we thank you so much for tuning in to this week's edition of Diamond Chat.
This is Walk Off with Autumn Accord. Autumn, you are a junior catcher for the Keystone Wildcats. Welcome to our Diamond Chat segment. We'll kind of ask you a few kind of fun, light questions here. We'll keep it, going as we go. Let's start with a kind of a goofy one. You've seen those competitive eating contests, right? Mm-hmm. Hot dogs, chicken wings, stuff like that. If you had to be in one of those, what kind of food do you think would be something you could really be successful at?
Definitely pizza.
Pizza.
Always am eating pizza.
Put down some
no
slices.
No matter the time of day, eating pizza.
All right. Your car, musical input. Is it radio, CD, aux cord, or Bluetooth?
Aux cord.
Aux cord?
Yeah.
All right. What about favorite professional player, any sport?
Lindor, all the way. Love watching him play.
Francisco Lindor, awesome. What's the first concert you ever attended?
Jason Aldean when I was 11.
11 years old?
Yep.
All right, country music is the way to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, you're allowed to go and play a softball tournament anywhere in the world. Where would you like to go?
Europe, preferably Italy, because I think that'd be really cool.
Somewhere
I've
Italy?
always wanted to be there.
How about a game right in the Coliseum?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
All right. You kind of have hit a few home runs, some big grand slams this year. I want you to walk us through your perfect at bat. Let's start with the pitch. The pitch is delivered. When do you kind of realize that, when you see that perfect pitch? Talk us through that.
Well, I kind of predict what's going to come, beforehand, oh, I'm going to swing at this pitch. And, I'll know, when a pitcher's going to throw, the pitch I want. So that's when I make sure, all right, let's do this. Do it for your team. Let's get it.
So the perfect pitch comes, you take that swing, it hits the sweet spot. What's that feeling like?
As soon as it hits the bat, I'm that's gone. This is going to be a great hit. Let's get going.
Awesome. So I kind of asked Gabby Shacker for last week, because she's a home run hitter as well. Mm-hmm. The very first one, do you have recollections of that first one that you put over the fence?
Yeah, we were down against Amherst this past season, or this beginning of this season. And I just knew we needed the momentum to come back to us, and then putting it out was awesome because she's a really good pitcher to put it off, out on.
What's harder to do, hit a home run or throw out a potential base stealer?
Hit a home run. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys just had a huge win. Coach Piazza is going to be treating the team to a victory meal. He puts you in charge of reservations. Where do you go?
Probably Village Pizza, because that's what we do as a team. We always are at Village.
And let's finish it up with, what is your best softball memory?
My best softball memory is probably when we went to state my freshman year, and I was so nervous that all the upperclassmen were helping me out and hugging me, and it was just really cool to have the experience to play at Firestone Stadium, and I'd love to be back there again this year.
All right. Well, thank you for being our guest on Diamond